because of the countdown, sometimes we. Okay.
Okay, no problem. We'll start.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And I know that we have got a little late because of a technological issue. Actually, we have already been running the whole thing and we were not live. That is the sad part. So we're going to start all over again. And please excuse us for that. So let me start with a little video introduction of mine, and then we'll continue.
Have I come to this planet to pay bills?
Leaders are not born, they are made. So I want to meet you for half an hour. How much will you charge? Everyone will be buying and selling time. विश्व में केवल 10% ऐसे लोग हैं जो गोल सेट करते हैं. The manager converted into a leader and you said, we all know, let's do it.
Success, success, success. Is that what you are aspiring for? There are thousands of successful sportsmen, CEOs, entrepreneurs, businessmen. But the one who is a combination of all and shares his success mantras is a rare gem. Dr. Arunagiri, the Success Guru, is a best-selling author, world-class trainer, international sportsman, and a successful industrialist. Dr. Arunagiri Mudaliar was the youngest basketball captain of the Maharashtra state team representing India at the International Games. His passion for the game is still alive as the official basketball coach for a leading sports club in Mumbai. Dr. Arunagiri holds an MSc degree from Mumbai, Master of Management Studies, a certificate in Marketing and Sales from Holland. He is an alumnus of IIM Ahmedabad and an accredited and nominated scholar from the prestigious Japanese Association of Overseas Technical Bureau. He was the CEO at the topmost companies in the field such as engineering, pharma, training and development, agro and FMCG over a span of 25 years. This experience led him to start his own corporate venture, Pacific Trans, a soft luggage company, which has won Asia Top Business Award 2016 instituted by IBF Singapore. With the best of the best teachings of the West and the East, he successfully increased the company's turnover from lakhs to crores within a decade and established goodwill via world-class service to his clients. He was eager to share his success mantras, which was indeed Dr. Arunagiri's long-time passion. To empower, enable, and educate individuals, he started his training organization, eCube. His training programs comprise of new paradigms of leadership skills, breakthrough performance, personal excellence, professional selling skills, communication and presentation skills, among others. Each of these programs merge the world-renowned, scientifically proven practices such as transformational technology, empowerment technology, interpersonal skill technology, networking skill technology, inner engineering technology, and 10x growth technology. His world-renowned new flagship signature programs are 10x Business Growth, 10x Sales Booster, 10x Personal and Professional Growth. He has authored 3 best-selling self-help books, namely Unleash Your Potential, Jogging for Life Success, and Being Customer-Centric. His 4th book, The Sales Master, 21 Key Elements to Win the Game of Selling, is published by the world-renowned Canadian publisher Black Card Books. Dr. Arunagiri has conducted 10,000 plus seminars and more than 1 lakh participants have benefited from his powerful success training till date, including companies such as Indian Oil, Hindustan Petroleum, LIC, Roche, Sulzer, Mitsubishi, UTI, Lakshmi Machine Works, etc. Life is a game. Win it with Dr. Arunagiri, the Success Guru.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm so excited to bring with you the man you saw in the video just now. So, I'm going to be now inviting on stage my very good friend and a global trainer, speaker, author, and an industrialist and an international sports person, Dr. Runagari.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before Nagari says anything, I must tell you more about what I know about him more than what the video talks or the LinkedIn says or the YouTube says or what the world talks about him. Because I have experienced him for the last 10 years and more. Arunagiri and I have been trainers and speakers together. We have learned together. We have done many training programs as students together. We have also co facilitated many training programs. We together are very active and senior members in an organization called the Professional Speakers Association of India. And I have known Arunagiri very well. There are one or two things I'll tell you about Arunagiri which nobody will tell you. One, that out of hundreds of trainers I know, and I know them very well, Arunagiri is probably the only one who's also an industrialist. He uses his own training company as his training lab. So, whatever he tells you on the stage is something he has already practiced in his company. That is something unique. I've also been a part of his company's training during COVID, particularly, and I've seen how he personally exercises his leadership in his own company. And then he learns from that and gives you those practical tips which other leaders who don't have that opportunity will probably give you only things on the surface. Arnagari goes deep down there. The second thing nobody will tell you about Arnagari, not even a cardiologist, that he has a heart made of gold. He's absolutely a giver, he's a contributor, and he does so much. Like, for example, he recommended me in Toastmasters to go and talk. He's a giver. He is looking at everyone else's his friends' support as much as his own success, or maybe more. So that's the man today who is with me to talk on leadership as sales mastery. And here we are going to start today's discussion on sales leadership mastery is life mastery, or navigating leadership through sales excellence. How are leadership and sales hand in hand, and they can't be separated? So over to you, Dr. Arunagiri, and how are you
Yeah,
today?
Brigesh Sushil, thank you very much. It's my honor and pleasure to be on your chat show, and you have been one of those few human beings whom I consider very, very close, or my 3 a.m. friend, because I know I can always depend on you, and you have always stood by me in both my crisis, challenges, and also in joyful days. And what I want to appreciate about you is there are many things which we hold close to our hearts in terms of the principles and values, and one which you rightly enumerated. We both are on in this training journey as a coach, mentor, or as a trainer, not for the bank balances, but to make this world a better place. And one more thing which we have in common is we are I've seen you to be such a brilliant student in spite of you achieving the highest echelons of the Indian Army, and being one of the very decorated army personnel, you are still like a child whenever you are attending a training program. And I get inspired by you, and I've been following that particular mindset. And I, for one, Sushil, strongly believe a good teacher, a good leader, a good coach, a good mentor has to be first a good student. And that's what I really get inspired by you. And it's I'm really consider myself fortunate to have a friend like you in my life.
Thank you so much, Arunagari. And I think, yes, truly we are lifelong learners, and we enjoy it. And
Yeah.
let me tell you that the day I heard about uh, the tragic news of Dr. Uh, Abdul Kalam's death, I told my wife I would like to die like this on the rostrum. I want to teach till the dying day. So that is something we have in common. So, Dr. Arnagari, let me start with my first question, which emanates from the very thing we said, that having uh, having that opportunity of being an industrialist and working in your company, experimenting and using it as a laboratory of leadership, and then being a sales trainer and using your sales principles, which you actually apply, learn, experiment, and then sell, is something which I don't know of any other sales trainer who could be doing. And that is where you really excel. So, tell me, how do you perceive the connection between effective leadership and the sales strategies? Uh, how do you think they go into together in the business landscape?
That's a brilliant question, I would say. And I would, and this is a big amount of chaos or confusion in many people's mind, that they don't appreciate the connection between the two. So, Shir, I for one strongly believe, it's coming from my own practice, my own experience, my own learning, is that a good leader and a good sales strategist and a good salesman, the common chord between them is both of them are coming from a giving consciousness. Uh, a leader is a giver, and a good salesperson is always there as a solution provider, as a problem solver. And he's there not for the money, money is incidental, but he's there to alleviate people's pain and thereby give a solution through their product and services. So when this commonality is understood, and when a person operates from this, he automatically becomes a good leader, and he also becomes a good sales strategist and a good salesman. And I, for one, believe that both of them are trainable, learnable skill. And I know you, as a brilliant leadership coach and a trainer, you would appreciate that once if you are able to develop this consciousness of giving, which also automatically leads to taking responsibility, ownership of whatever task or work that has been given to you, this automatically gives you a tremendous amount of power, tremendous amount of purposive action, and thereby you have a control over the mastery, or the mastery over the results which is there. Because all of them are interrelated. Being a giver, being a responsible taker, being a person in action, and thereby results. So both of them, an effective leader and effective salesman, both of them come from this giving consciousness by taking total responsibility and leadership and ownership.
Excellent. So, what really struck me in what you just said brilliantly was consciousness. And when you have this consciousness coming up, and in this consciousness, the ownership, that you think that you own the company, it really brings in a lot of true value. And this also brings me to a point where I remember in one of my workshops, when the discussion went something in this direction, when I asked a company of about 100 people, I said, tell me, how many people are there in your sales team? And they said 6 or 7. So I said, what do the other 92, 93 people do? What are they doing? And there was pin drop silence. And I said, don't they contribute to the sales? Isn't everyone in a company, really speaking, contributing to sales? So this is something which we really need to understand, that it is not just the sales team per se. It's not a function. It is a organizational culture. What would you say to that?
Again, a very, very relevant point, Sushil. Thanks for bringing it up. And it has been my conviction. I've been a first generation successful entrepreneur for the last 24 years, running this specific trends as a company. And now I've got a series of other companies, including construction, asset management, and so on and so forth. In all of them, I've realized one thing, that each and every member of your team has to be sales centric, which in other words means customer centric. And if you're, because ultimately your customer is the person who gives you income and profit. So you have more income only when you have more customer, and you'll have more customer when every member of your team is there to delight him, to make him really feel wow out of your product and services. But unfortunately, Sushil, you'll also appreciate it, because I've been in training for again for the same number of years, and I've seen in many organizations, as you rightly said, they feel that only that sales department, considering about less than 10% of their team members are salespeople, and others consider themselves to be non-salespeople, and the management is okay with that, and this is the reason why they are paying the price of losing their 68% of their profitable customers due to their attitude of indifference by any of their staff members, team members, or associates. Because other members are not aware about what it takes to identify, acquire, retain a profitable customer. So this becomes a big tragedy for many organizations, and that becomes a big uh, uh, profit drainer, or a revenue drainer. This consciousness again has to be brought, as you rightly said, in the culture of the organization. The culture of the organization should be that every member should consider themselves to be a sales commando, a customer centric person, a person devoted to ensuring that their customers get more than what they pay for, and their customer, every interaction with with their organization is delightful. And this can, Sushil, come only when this type of a consciousness of everybody considering themselves to be a sales centric person, when that culture is embedded into each member.
Absolutely. Like, I said that the person, one of those 68% people could just be the watchman. The
Yeah.
moment you enter a company, he may be responsible for irritating you to be, where it gets affected that I don't like this company. And
Yes.
people, it's a very known fact of life that people don't buy products, they buy relationships, they buy people. And I will always buy things, or I will take services from people I like. So are you likable? So the
Yes.
likability also becomes a part of the organizational culture, isn't that?
Absolutely. In fact, Sushil, you again brought out a very important point. Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Remember, my friends, human beings are emotional beings. And let me tell you one more principle of selling or the sales transaction. Every customer first takes a decision emotionally and then subsequently justifies it with logic. So if you, as Sushil, you rightly said, in case if he gets emotionally hurt by anybody, right from a watchman to the receptionist to accounts person or by a salesperson himself, if he somewhere hurts the esteem of the customer, he's lost. And many of the customers will not even tell you; they will just walk out to the next competitor who's ready to provide the same product and services with the amount of uh, good emotional treatment. So this is an aspect which has to be understood by everybody, that every human being is an emotional being, and if you are not able to take care of their emotional well-being, and you are lost, because that's where the relationship, as you rightly pointed out, is, first you sell the product, first you sell yourself, the product and services gets automatically sold. That's what is the true fact about selling. And this has to be this is the cardinal principle which every entrepreneur, every organization should remember.
Thank you very much. I think that was brilliantly answered. Now, another thing that comes to my mind is that I have often made this statement, and it is basically because I've been attending so many of your 10x sales growth workshops, and I know that you've quite sort of motivated me and inspired me on that. So I
Thank
always
you.
say that sales is not a tool; it is actually a mindset. So how what would you say to that? That how would you sort of amplify on this statement?
Again, and a very, very important, because they say that 85% of a success of a human being is mindset. And mindset is nothing but your beliefs and attitudes. Now, Sushil, as you rightly said, when I look at my customer, I have to look at my customer not as a one-time transaction where I try to somehow fleece him, sell my products and get it out. In case if my product is not going to be of use, in fact, one statement I would like to make to you, you should, if you are a good salesperson who's been well trained, you will remember this, that if my product and service is of no use to you, then your money is of no use to me. This has to be the thought process or a mindset of every good entrepreneur or a salesperson. So ultimately, the mindset has to be always of a win-win, where I give him a product and services and I get the due reciprocation in terms of money. The moment I think of just somehow selling the product, even if it is not going to be useful to him, and I take away the money, that is going to be a very, very short term. Because remember, one satisfied customer may get you two more customers, but one unsatisfied customer in today's world, I would not even say 100, it can be lakhs of people can be lost. So friends, ultimately it's a mindset. So if you don't have a win-win mindset, abundance mindset, as I was saying, Sushil, a good salesperson is a good human being first. So as a good human being, you would never like to shortchange any other fellow human being uh, through your glib of your talk or by manipulation. So you have to have a mindset of wanting to always give the best to the others, add value to them, give more for less.
So what we have said so far, going round and round in circles, means the same thing, that it is all about the organizational culture, it is about consciousness, it is about beliefs and attitudes, and it is about creating more than just the sales
Yes.
uh, tools, or I'll say the sales principles, or talking about learning, though that is also very necessary. But if they are not backed by a solid will to do it, by that the that attitude and the behavior that shows up, and that becomes a leadership issue. How is a leader creating that organizational culture where everyone is willing to give and contribute, and also understand that it is not about individual performance, it is about the collective performance of a team, and therefore a person sitting in finance is as much responsible for a sale as anyone else is, because salesperson is only the front, the face of the customer facing element, but it is behind him is the entire team that is working together. So if the thing is not being manufactured well, if there's a manufacturing defect, that salesperson is not going to be able to sell anything if it's not supported by quality, and so on. And that is what the leadership needs to ensure. So again, bringing back
Absolutely.
that how as a leader we have to understand that we build a team which is sales centric, which is customer centric.
Absolutely.
Now,
And this,
I'll come to, yeah, sorry.
yeah, absolutely. As you correctly pointed out, and all of them, ultimately, Sushil, comes down to building up a culture through a continuous training program through the internal faculty as well as external faculty. So, as we consciously keep on saying, remember, you need to train your team, because training is never an investment, never a expense. It's always an investment.
You have actually brought in another aspect, and that is, uh, we have both probably faced this thing, that most companies think that training is an event. And I always say training is not an event, it's a long, continuing, evolving process. It's a process. It keeps leading from one place to the other, and it is never an expense. It is an investment. Now, most companies, for technical training, they have no option. They have to do it. I mean, if you are in a bank, you have to learn the banking procedures. So the technical training becomes absolutely inevitable. But when it comes to behavioral training, because it is not very tangible and you can't measure the results easily. Most leaders consider that to be a secondary thing. They don't want to so called waste money on it, because they don't know that it is not an expense, it's an investment. So how do you think the leaders mindset of training their sales team and training their complete team to acquire this type of a mindset would really help?
So, one more thing, for one more big myth I would like to today explain, or try to remove it out, is about that, salesmanship means it's only about one function of one department. As we were discussing when we were thinking about this talk, ultimately every human being is a salesperson, because the moment you understand, I would request everybody in this who's listening to this particular chat is just to remember this: any human being who is selling a product, services, or an idea to another fellow human being is a salesperson. So when you look at this particular definition, now tell me which in human interaction there is no sales happening. When a mother is telling her child to study, she's selling that idea. She's also a salesmanship. A girl proposing to a boy proposing to a girl for a relationship, again, is selling an idea, selling himself to the person. A lawyer presenting his case to a judge, again, is presenting an idea. A politician, when he talks about, achhe din aayenge, again, what is he doing? He's selling an idea. So if you actually see every human interaction, there is a sales element involved that goes under the different terminology, or a phraseology called as persuasion, influencing, or convincing. But all of them are ultimately within the broad paradigm of selling. So unless and until a human being knows the art and the science of selling, of and selling is not a art, it's a science. Everything is as per the human emotion, human construct, the way human beings think. And if a person keeps himself away from the learning the art and science of selling, is actually hugely depreciating oneself, hugely invalidating oneself, and thereby putting a huge barrier for one's growth. So this is what is my strong conviction. And as a sales trainer and a mentor, my one of my endeavor has been to remove this myth that sales is a very narrow function. Actually, it is, that's why the title I really appreciate, Sushil, what you have said. Sales and leadership mastery is life mastery. If you are a good salesperson, you're a good human being, you'll be able to master, say, life, and thereby beautifully enjoy this beautiful gift of human life that we all have been blessed with.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Snail says selling is hard. Okay, so that's really good. Now, I was very happy to see my friend David Buck here. David Buck is a time management specialist, and he's written a book very recently, and all of you must buy a copy of Time Optimization, which he says that it is about optimizing time more than just managing time. So we have
Wow.
lots and lots of things that we have in common, and I've learned a lot from David. And thank you, David, for being here. Okay, so we call him Dave, Dave Buck, and you must attend his every. He comes on a LinkedIn audio
Wow.
event every week. Okay, guys, all those who are there, if you don't write down your name or something, or you send us a little love, you send us a little comment, we won't even know that you are there. So I'll be happy if you interact with us through these comments and write to us. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome, because between the two of us, we love to answer your questions. And even if we are not able to, we'll come back to you with answers. That's a promise.
Absolutely.
So let's continue with our discussion. And Arunagiri, let me go to another aspect. Now, you are an international trainer, and I've also we have I've seen you doing some business of your selling in Dubai when we were there together. So I know that you also sell internationally, you train internationally. So when it comes to sales and it comes to leadership, how much do you think is it as a universal thing? How is this cross culture coming in? How does it affect, and how does it work on the global landscape?
Sushil, again, a very, very good question. In fact, I would say, this again is one more myth I would like to say. Ultimately, remember the fundamentals of selling or a fundamental of human nature is the same. So whether you are selling in India or you are selling abroad, except for some nuances shift in terms of language and other things, the fundamental principles remain the same. Like ultimately, in selling, you have to focus on NDP, need, desire, problem. Okay. Ultimately, in selling, ultimately you have to identify the priorities of the need of your customer and then present how your product and services are going to fulfill those needs and give them a solution. So ultimately, the basic framework remains the same. Maybe the language, maybe some of the etiquettes, all the small nitty-gritties may change, which also needs to be kept in mind. But the basic funda remains the same as far as selling is concerned. Similarly, when I have to bring in together these two, leadership and selling, I would strongly believe that every good salesperson is a leader because he comes from the from the giving consciousness, which is what a leader is for me. And he always comes from this point of view that how he is able to alleviate the pain and alleviate those problem of his customer and give him a product and services in exchange for the money in the best possible manner. So a good leader is a good salesperson. A good salesperson is invariably a good leader. And I, for one, believe that both of them are learnable. There are some traits, so there are some characteristics of leadership. There are some characteristics of a good salesperson in terms of the selling skills and mindset, which a person needs to learn, further sharpen it, and put it into practice, and thereby continuously try to master it. And if he's able to do it, I for one, I've seen it in my own life that irrespective of the geographies, you would still become successful. You would become successful.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is really great. Uh, Let me ask you something which has just popped up in my mind. So we have never probably spoken about it earlier. See, you are quite an all-rounder, and with all your training and speaking and writing, you're an author. I'll, this is what most people know, but a lot of people don't know about your being a sportsman, being a basketballer. So I want to also bring in that how does, because this is another thing as an army man, I felt that good sportsmen also, there's a lot of lot of contribution of sportsmanship and leadership. And so how does that contribute? How when you as when you bring a when you're wearing a sportsman hat, uh, how do you think it enhances your leadership of it?
I think you have touched something very close to my heart. I always say, as Sushil, you rightly said about Abdul Kalam, I've been a sportsman right from the age of 5, and even today, at the age of 62, I still consider myself to be a sportsman. Is my first identity. And when you ask me the comparison between sports and leadership, whatever I am today, Sushil, if I've achieved success as a business person, as a trainer, as a human being, and as a family man, or wherever, I attribute it to what I learned on the sports ground of basketball. And because one thing which I learned, the best quality I learned is resilience, bouncing back. My life has been full of challenge, full of big failures. And for me, failure is not bad. Failure is just an event, and failure is first attempt in learning. Like I wanted to get into NDA, I cleared my preliminary, I cleared my SSB, and I lost it just by one or two merit points. After putting a work for 4 years, I couldn't get it. Then I tried for my IPS examination. Again, I cleared my preliminary mains, and in the last step, again I faltered. So these two are the big career choices. Both of the places I failed after a humongous amount of hard work. I, for one, believe that if I was not a sportsman, Sushil, I would have crashed. No? But sports let me bounce back with double vigor. And today, retrospectively, when I look at my own life, I feel that it was good that I didn't get into any of them, because I'm much more successful. I'm much more happier. I'm much more, more in tune with what I wanted to do, and I'm able to use my unique ability of sharing and leading to become a better human being. So absolutely. As sports teaches you almost all the good qualities of a leadership. The one which I really got was resilience, bouncing back from any crisis. Uh, People like you and me cannot be kept down. The harder we fall, the higher we rise. That's what is.
The higher we bounce like a ball.
Yeah, yeah, higher we bounce back. Yeah,
Yeah.
very much.
So, it also brings me to to some very less known fact that people don't know. We're talking about NDA. In NDA, they have, I think, about 150 odd horses, maybe more now. I don't know, because of the increase
Yes.
in the carriage strength. And I got into a little curiosity to find out why do they invest so much of money, because 160 horses maintenance is a huge investment, because maintaining a horse, or is
Yeah.
very, very expensive. Not only what it costs is not much, but its daily care, its food, and all its care and everything is very expensive. Why they do it is that when you're teaching leadership, and NDA is the cradle of leadership, you're teaching leaders at the age of 15 years, 15, 16 years. So
Yes.
16 to 19, let's say, is the age group of cadets in the NDA. And a boy who is now, of course, boys and girls, but that time it was only boys weighing, let's say, about 40, 50, 55, 60 kgs, whatever. And you're sitting on a horse which is weighing about 10 to 15 times your weight, maybe more. And you get that feeling that I can control this horse.
Wow.
I can lead this horse the way I want to. I can make it stop. I can make it do canter. I can make it do gallop when I want. This is something which absolutely, just a minute. Sorry. So what happens is, this is extremely important that we understand that leadership is learned in sports, in horse riding, in mountaineering. Oh, there's so much of leadership training there. And all the people who learn leadership only in classrooms, I can tell you, are very short lived. They are not real good leaders. I will always have an apprehension if somebody says I'm a great leader only because I learned reading books. I've read 100 leadership books and I've watched 1,000 leadership videos. No, that is not leadership. Leadership
Absolutely.
is, and another interesting thing I must tell you, the first time I ever in my life attended a talk on leadership was in 1983. I joined NDA in 1967.
Okay.
67 to 83, which means 3 and 3 is 6, and about, say, 16 years?
Uh-huh.
No, 16 years, yeah. 16 years in my army career, I never had a leadership talk ever. But those 16
Wow.
years, every day from morning till evening, leadership was being taught to you in very experiential manner every minute. So now when
Yes.
you take your mind back to NDA, even that ragging, even the team spirit that was being taught to you, everything was a part of leadership training, leadership and team building, time management. Time management was taught to us in less than a week. Nobody taught us any principles of time management. Nobody went onto a whiteboard to tell us what is time management. Nobody taught us that. It happened experientially. And the
Yes.
only time I learned leadership was in staff college, when the commandant comes on the stage and talks about higher military leadership. Now that was absolutely at a different level. And then
Yeah.
the type of money that the army invests in years of leadership training, sustained leadership training over period, is no corporate can either afford that time or that money to invest into leadership training of this time. But there are a lot of things we can learn from that. We can learn that
Absolutely.
leadership also needs to. So what we talked in the beginning about uh, organization culture, about the mindset development, that is what the leadership and the management in a company need to look at, because that is going to uh, foster long term leadership foundation. And once that organization culture is there, then anyone coming new, he falls into that environment easily. You will you will never do something out of that because everyone is doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
True. Absolutely. In fact, I can summarize what you just said, Sushil. Knowing is not doing, doing is doing.
Yeah,
So, understandably, you practice what you preach, it will not get ingrained in you, and it will not give you the result as well. So, what you appreciated about our myself being with Pacific as my training laboratory, because in the understandable I'm hands-on onto the problems, I will not be able to empathize with the participants when they come out with some queries. So that is what gives you an edge in terms of giving them a right solution, right pathway to become more effective in whatever they do. So nothing like actual experiential training on what you need to first make people do what they know. Thereby, out of that experience, they become better and better.
absolutely. So now, to end the conversation, I would just like to ask you: is there any strong message you would like to share with the viewers on any of these subjects related to sales, leadership, communication, all put together as a bundle?
Yeah, in fact, I would like to give about 4 or 5 of my life learnings, and
That
which
would
I
be
would.
great.
Yeah, first
That would
one
be
is
great.
the equation called as PD is equal to BD. In fact, personal development is equal to your business development. What I mean to say is, you have to continuously keep on investing in yourself to become a better version of yourself day by day. Because today the world is moving at a very, very fast pace. They say the rate of change is equal to information change into technological change into competition change. In order to keep up with this fast changing world, you need to constantly keep on upgrading yourself in terms of your ask, attitude, skill, and knowledge. There is a never ending improvement drive which need to do for the best asset that you have, that is yourself. The first one. Second one is always keep yourself very enthusiastic, be alive by ensuring that you are at a high energy level. And for this you need to ensure that your ecosystem is always of people who are optimistic, who are forward thinking, because it's very easy to be sucked into negativity in this today's world and time. So it's very essential for all of us to be consciously keeping us in a higher energy state and in an ecosystem which makes you more of an optimist. And I would say, even if your family members are going to be negative, ensure that you keep away from them and ensure that you are always in that positive energy, because negative energy can really suck. The third thing which I
Yeah,
would always say is,
Tony Robbins calls it peak state, and
yeah,
goes into
absolutely. Yeah,
deep
high
into
energy
how
level,
to develop.
absolutely. And your performance is directly proportional to your state, and how you keep yourself in a high state. That also is trainable. And third one I would say is, always have a context. Always look at a context or a paradigm in a positive manner. You set a proper context, because more than the content, the context is important. And the context setting is to be very important. We look at it from a very positive perspective. Even if you have a failure, even if you have a very, very adverse happening in your life, if you can look at it as to how that is going to make you a better human being, I promise you, you'll be able to come out of it. Like I said about my NDA failure, my IPS failure. In retrospect, even at that point of time, because I was a sportsman, I took it up and said, okay, from that 4 or 5 years of hard work for IAS, Sushil, I promise you, my vocabulary improved, my general knowledge improved, my knowledge about history and sociology, which was my two subjects, improved to a tremendous level. If today I've got a better vocabulary or more fluency in my talking or a better general knowledge, it's because of those 5 years which I spent for studying for my IPS or for my NDA. So it is never, anything is never a waste. So look at it from that perspective. And the fourth point I would say is keep yourself on the true educational path. True education, my sense, is not about the information gathering. It's about continuously looking at yourself, increasing your mindfulness and awareness about converting your limiting beliefs into liberating beliefs. Limiting beliefs are things which will keep you to a certain level of success. You need to break that barrier and go to a higher level. Today, India especially is in a beautiful inflection point where I can promise you, as an entrepreneur, there is an humongous opportunity to grow in any field. All that you need to do is to have the right beliefs about your own self belief, and also the belief in the product and services you sell. And the last point is about learn learn the art and the science of selling. Sushil, here again, just 3 days back, I took a training program for entrepreneurs at Suba International in Delhi, where about 43 people came. And this I consciously did because, as I and you know, we get a lot of B2B training opportunity where we go and train, and it's much more easier. But this time I consciously took the arduous path of approaching the entrepreneurs and getting them in, because I for one believe this small and medium entrepreneurs, they require these selling skill techniques, and more than the big corporates who can afford, these are the people who need to learn it, imbibe it, teach it to their team, and take it to the next level. And you'll not believe it, Sushil, in that one day, we had 43 people, we generated 36 crores of business revenue from that one day training program. And it was a real big success. We got an opportunity for a Aurangabad training program. The next training program is on the December 16th, one day workshop. Our Deepak and they were there. Deepak was there, Rajesh was
Abhijit was.
there, Abhijit was there, and it was really very fulfilling. And I have decided that, at least every month I will do one training program for small medium enterprise, because they require to be trained in the art and science of selling. But I would urge all the people who are watching this, from wherever, not necessarily from Dr. Arunagiri, you can get it trained from any good sales trainer, but learn the art and science of selling, or art and science of persuasion and influencing, that can make you a better, effective leader, effective entrepreneur, and an effective human being. So this is what are my 5 points which I thought I should share with your great audience, and thereby help them to really consummate this beautiful gift of human life which we all have been blessed with. Over to you, Sushil.
Very good, very good. So nice. So thank you very much, Dr. Arnagiri. And if there are any questions, anyone wants to ask, we can
Yes.
spare a few minutes for that. Otherwise, we'll call it a day. So is there anyone? I'll just wait for a few more seconds to see if anyone is asking a question, or else then uh, we'll say bye bye. And those of you who may have come late, and those of you who may see the recording later, let me assure you that even if you put a questions in the
Yeah.
recording format, we are duty bound to give you our answers back to you. So we have Tarun saying thanks a lot to both of you. And I must thank you, Tarun, because you were there right in the beginning and you are there right till the end. And I can see from the numbers that some people have come and gone, but you have been there through and through. And my special thanks to you for doing that.
Yes.
Okay, then. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and see you. I'm going in for a knee surgery, so I may not be doing another session maybe next fortnight. But after that, we'll bounce forward rather, not bounce back. We'll bounce forward to the next one, and we'll see you soon. So till then, bye bye and
Yeah,
God
thank you,
bless.
Sushil. Thank you for having me here. It was a pleasure talking with you because of your deep insight and brilliant questions. And I also, I think, on behalf of all your fan following, pray to God for a speedy recovery from your knee journey, knee surgery. And I'm sure you will bounce back because you are a fighter.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Yes, so I was just going to, after thanking the audience, it was my duty to thank Arunagari for sparing your valuable time and sharing such valuable insights. And I'm sure anyone who invests this time into listening to this would learn a lot and do apply it in your organizations, in your life, in your family, and you will find some success. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you.